Welcome to another guide. My name is Prevail and today we're going to take a look at units and whether they're worth their leadership cost or not. Most units in the game are very different despite similarities they share. I think most notable example would be pikeman units. There are some that can't push well but are the greatest defensive units you could ever have, and some that relentlessly push back enemies and exert zone control, both in the offense and defense. To make it simple and pleasant to your eyes, we're going to use the help of Tier Maker website. We'll go from one category to another, starting with melee and ending with cavalry. I'll put timestamps for each category in the description. Before we start though, you might ask yourself, who is this guy and why would I even listen to him? So a little bit about me. I'm a high level player who together with our house and alliance won Season 1 and Season 2. Over that time I accumulated a lot of knowledge and experience I can share with you, and I think the most important of it all is I'm interested only in efficiency and productivity. I'm not just going to tell you to buy this unit because it looks cool. I'm going to tell you what is the most effective unit for a specific job. And trust me, every unit has been designed to do a certain job, which is also why certain units, despite being a bit too well rounded like Raton Rangers, shouldn't always be your go-to pick. So if you're interested in more guides and gameplay, make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and if you want to play with me, share your opinions or simply chat with me. I'm streaming most of the evenings live on Twitch. Now, two disclaimers. 1. If a unit isn't included in the video, it means it's been forgotten and there is a reason for it. It's simply not worth mentioning. 2. We're not including Golden Era units. At the current stage of the game, these are all good and viable units that are simply situational. So if you're looking for a strong melee unit to push with, take Iron Reapers. If you're looking for a cavalry that cannot be stopped, take Wing Hussars. Each Golden Era unit has its own perks and there is simply no best or worst. All are good and all are situational. I think the only one lacking is Cataphract Lancers, as when it comes to charging, Hussars simply do the job better, and when it comes to melee capability and tanking, Monastic Knights do better. They're what we're going to call obsolete. We're going to rank them based on a few things: overall performance, what is their job and whether they do it well or not, and how skilled they are in sieges and endgame content, which is territory wars. So let's start with melee units and work our way down the tree. First in the line are Materatori, and they're the only mercenary unit I'm going to mention. They are a unit designed specifically to be a cannon fodder pushing siege towers. They are not only better than Serf Serit, but also way more durable. With the 10% bonus honor and bronze for spending only 30 leadership, there is simply no reason to pass on those if you can afford them. Condottieri guards and prefecture guards we're going to speak about together. They are designed to do the same job and both do it exceptionally well. Both have a shock ability that allows them to fight more effectively. Without using it, I'm quite confident prefecture guards are stronger, but my personal pick is Condottieri anyway. They can shield bash players around, stop them from basically doing anything and secure kills this way. Same goes for other units. They're bashed around and can't attack properly. They go in, kill everything and get out. Both are god tier and a must buy. Squires are supposed to be charge infantry, and while their charge is on lower cooldown and does more damage, they don't really live to use it again and have nothing else to show with. If you take condottieri or prefecture guards, there is simply no reason to ever use them or even unlock them. Now once again we have three similar units: Men-at-Arms, Palace Guards and Seregs. Similar yet a bit different, Men-at-Arms have a tight shield wall and a self-heal ability. Palace Guards have a shield wall and Seregs can ignore shields while attacking, making a good counter to other melee units, just like Men-at-Arms. Personally, I never find myself using Palace Guards even though I own them and they're elite. I think comparing to Men-at-Arms, especially after anniversary buffs to them, they're simply obsolete. They do about the same damage, both have a charge, but Men-at-Arms can heal themselves and have an ability to maintain block while attacking. This means there is virtually no weak spot aside from their back. Seregs are the definition of situational. They are a really strong melee unit, but one that has been specifically designed to counter other melee units, making them not so great for general purpose. Truth be told, I was never a fan of choosing people with ballistas, and that's probably a reason why I'm not a fan of javelin units either. You can throw javelins in people's face and one-shot them, but honestly, that's about it. They exert a bit of zone control for a single hero since you don't really want to get close to them while playing on your own, but they have no place in territory wars. Don't get me wrong, they're a good unit and they're not bad, they're just simply not useful. But if that's your thing and you like cheesing people, you might have a lot of fun using them. Now to tower shield units, the Mesney Spearmen are a solid unit for new players. I recommend it being the first shield unit you pick up because next on the list is going to be the MVP of all time. Spear Sergeants. The cheapest and probably the most efficient unit currently found in the game. I can't stress enough how big of a must-buy they are for a new player. They are the second best shield in the game when it comes to defense and the best shield in the game when it comes to offense. They're going to be a unit you unlock early and cherish for the rest of your playthrough. Iron Cap Spearmen, what is that? Now we have the best defensive option for a shield wall. Spear Sergeants are way better for attacking since they can follow you quickly, stay by your side and chase people with cover commander, but Imperial Spear Guards are just impenetrable in defense. This is the unit you want the most by your side when defending in territory wars. My favorite category incoming, Pikemen, and first in the line is Pike Militia. A must buy because of their veterancy tree. They're a really cheap and basic unit but highly effective even in territory wars because of their pikes being able to stun units. They won't dish out much damage, but they will do the job they were designed to do even better than some units like Halberdiers. Halberdiers and Halberdiers Sergeants are more of an offensive choice. They have a charged skin and actually a ton of damage in melee. The only issue is that pikemen by default are more of a strategic class. You don't want them running around and attacking people, you want them in a specific place bracing for enemy troops or cavalry. While sergeants are good at bracing, offer a lot of damage outside of bracing as well, normal halberdiers are just obsolete. Prefecture pikemen are basically halberdiers that cannot brace, making them honestly completely useless. We have 2 pike units left and these are 2 of my favorites. Imperial pikes are a must buy. They exert tremendous amounts of zone control and can outpush literally anything. It might be the best pushing unit right next to the Iron Reapers. For the Brachio on the other hand aren't as good when pushing, but because of their really tight formation they are a meat grinder in defense. Just place them at the gate and that's it. No one is going to pass through alive, and the same goes for tight passages. And here comes the moment when Halberdier Sergeants become pretty much obsolete. If you attack in a castle, you want Imperial Pikes to push your enemies out of the point and capture it. If you are defending a castle, you want for the Brachio at the gate to kill everything passing through, or Imperial Pikes to push the enemies back. The only moment you would want to pick Halberdier Sergeants is during an attack, but Imperial Pikes are simply way more tanky and effective. Sergeants are good at everything, but not best at anything, rendering them pretty much not good at anything. Next up we have Archers. Namkhan and Prefecture Archers straight up go to the must-buy. Cheap and effective units, Namkhan are great versus heavy armor units because of the bleed they're inflicting being true damage, and Prefecture Archers simply melt everything that doesn't have a high armor. I mostly use mine to simply sneak an arrow rain on enemy archers. They will delete them in an instant. Vanguard Archers recently received quite big general buffs, but their issue in my opinion is a lack of useful ability. Namkhans have a bleed, Prefecture Archers have an arrow rain, and Vanguard Archers can move while shooting. Honestly, no buffs can make up for this ability. There is literally no reason you would ever pick them over Namkhan or Prefecture Archers. They don't offer any utility. And the same goes for Rotan Marksmen and Rotan Vipers. Once again, for the same leadership as Namkhan and Prefecture Archers, there is simply no reason to ever even unlock them. Imperial Archers and Longbowmen are 2 strong units, but also 2 very situational units. Longbowmen are great in killing other archers because of the range advantage that includes Falconetti Gunners, Pavis Crossbows, and literally any Arquebusiers in their sight. Imperial Archers do great damage with Bodkin arrows to high armor targets such as heroes or Iron Reapers, but personally I don't really like spending too much leadership on archers. I would rather pick Namkhan or Prefecture Archers, save the 70 leadership and spend it somewhere else. Arquebusiers and a single crossbow unit I'm putting in the same category. It's also a really straightforward one. Imperial Arquebusiers are a must buy for territory wars. Their volley fire has probably the highest DPS in the game, and while you have to micromanage them a little comparing to terraces, they're surely worth it. Rigsrod Fusiliers are mini terraces, but they don't really have anything special comparing to Imperial Arquebusiers. Don't get me wrong, they're a good, viable unit, they're just a bit worse than their competition. The Mesne Arquebusiers and Arballists are not something I would ever really bother with. Both are an okay unit, but unlike archers, they're way worse than their higher tier counterparts, and you're not going to find yourself ever using them. Going down to Cavalry, we have 2 lance units and 2 melee units. Melee cavalry is quicker and better at sustained fights, but does way less damage while charging. Lance cavalry deletes everything in their path until stopped, but their charge cooldown is double as long, they're worse at melee and slower as well. Cav tools concept is something I can't really understand and place anywhere in the game, so the only worthy melee cavalry for me is Prefecture cavalry. Ridiculously fast with an okay charge, melee damage and sustainability. Nothing fancy, but they are right into the job. Yeomen and Dagger Axe Lancers are quite similar and fit the same role, but I think Lancers are doing it a bit better. They're more tanky and honestly, Yeomen just have a troll veterancy tree, just look at it, and even recent buffs to them can't really replace that. If you ask me, overall I would prefer to spend this leadership on anything else but cavalry. If you want to use cavalry, it shouldn't be anything else but Golden Era cavalry. Now, keep in mind that those are simply recommendations based on comparisons. You might love your yeomen and solo carry every single match with them. Still, in theory, if replaced with Dagger Axe Lancers, you should do it just a little bit better. Once again, if you want to chat with me about it, I invite you to my Twitch where I stream most of the evenings. Next guide in the line is Doctrines and Veterancy trees, so stay tuned to that.